Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Innovation Unplugged. I'm Houston Blackwood, Workforce Director for this crazy show and this crazy group. On my left is Matt Heaton, our Career Readiness Manager. You guys know and love him. I mean, we got a story to tell about what's coming up in your world some episode soon. But on my right today is our special guest, Barry May, who is our Chief Workforce Development Officer for the Alabama Community College System. Barry, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I tell you, any chance I get to be able to talk about the great things that we're doing at the system, as well as our community colleges are doing, I just love the opportunity to be able to share those things. So thank you for inviting me on the podcast today.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So I've known you in two roles or two ways. When I was at Calhoun, I used all of your grants, and worked hard to use the resources you had, and it made a huge difference in what I did there. And now working alongside, we don't use the grants in the Innovation Center, but we work alongside to make sure we're aligned. So it's really cool to see it from the perspective of what we're going to talk about, using what we're going to talk about today, but then also seeing how it applies at the big picture and seeing how those decisions are made. So we set this show up because this will air about the time that you are rolling out all the grants for the year, the ICI grants, and some others.
Workforce grants, yeah.
The workforce grants.
Industry Certification Initiative and Special Populations, those are allocations from the legislature that I tell you, our community colleges wouldn't be able to basically sustain and grow their career technical education programs without those, without that support, as well as provide the needed workforce development training and skills trainings that's needed across the state of Alabama. So those are great opportunities for community colleges to apply for. And of course, today we're going to be specifically discussing existing industry training program that we're serving businesses across the state with. But
yeah, for sure. Before we get into all that, Barry, we always like to know where our guests came from and how they got to where they are right now.
That's a long story, actually.
Okay, we've got 45 minutes.
Yeah. So my background is actually industrial engineering. I graduated from Louisiana Tech University, and I started my career in manufacturing. I spent several years as an engineer in manufacturing and moved my way up into operations and quality management. And at some point, about 15 years in, there was I was a little burned out in that career, and at the same time, while I was in Louisiana, there was a program called Louisiana Fast Start. Now it's called LED Fast Start. It's very similar to EIDT here. It's a state workforce incentives to support the workforce training for new and expanding businesses in the state.
Right.
And so it was a brand new workforce development program in the state of Louisiana, and they were looking for project managers to manage training projects for companies, recruiting and training projects for companies, and specifically looking for skill sets in manufacturing, people that knew a lot about the manufacturing processes and the skills needed to for production people to be successful in those roles, and had project management experience. And so I thought at the time it sounded interesting, and I was lucky enough to be hired on with LED Fast Start, and it was a tremendous experience. Had a lot of great wins for the state of Louisiana in that role, as well as saw a lot of lives changed through the creation of jobs. And during that time, I had worked for a gentleman, Jeff Lynn, who was a rock star in the state of Louisiana at the time in workforce development. Still is a rock star.
Still is.
Yeah.
Just a different place.
He's now, he was recruited to Alabama to be the vice chancellor of workforce development. and we had worked closely together, and so he was needing somebody to help support workforce development here, and recruited me to come to Alabama.
At the same time?
At the very similar, yeah,
Okay.
very close together. And I tell you, that was the best decision that I'd made for me and
Yeah.
my family. We love Alabama so much. It's more so than I ever expected. I mean, the diversity and what we have in landscape, the business diversity in the businesses that are across the state, the opportunities that exist here are just so tremendous. The arts and entertainment world,
Absolutely.
opportunities that Alabama has to offer, it's truly amazing. And my kids have thrived here in Alabama. I've got a daughter that's graduated from Auburn, and I've got one that's going to be a senior next year at Pike Road High School that
Yeah.
wants to go to Auburn, but we'll see where that
See
goes.
what's happening
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay. So then you got to Alabama. Obviously, I think you've had maybe a title change since you came. I don't know. It seems like you did.
A few.
Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot. A little foreshadowing there, but well, that's where I met you when I got to Calhoun. You actually came there early on. I think you came to see Courtney, Courtney Taylor, who's actually coming on the show in a later episode.
Oh, that's great.
But we had a conversation then about what workforce was, and I didn't have a clue. Oh man, I was winging it. I was like, I gotta talk right to this guy because he's apparently a big deal. But you've always been so good to the colleges, and that's what we want to talk about today. So we're glad you're here. Give us, for the audience, give us a rundown of where these workforce grants, where that whole program came from, how it started, with you, or you picked it up and ran the ball even better.
Yeah, so it all started back in 2008. So I started with the system in 2017. So this was well before my time. But however, the opportunities and the amount of the funds have certainly grown significantly since I've been with the system, really to address the critical needs in workforce development. But it started with the Governor's Office of Workforce, by executive order, created workforce development housed at the community college system. At some point, there was the regional workforce councils were created in legislation, and so they were separated and went with commerce, and then ACCS still managed all the grant programs, but the regional workforce councils really supported that whole grant process and convening employers to review grants and provide recommendations and really communicate what their needs were across the state and in each region.
I remember that.
And with this new Department of Workforce and the legislation that created that, as well as the structure behind that, the regional workforce councils were no longer, and I guess disbanded, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so we've with the community college that was a very valuable process, and the work that they were doing. And so what we've tried in the same spirit, tried to maintain that same structure. We have different industry sectors and committees. We've broken those up, but typically there's 6. We've based that on critical industry sectors that in Alabama. That's been construction, information technology, manufacturing, of course, healthcare, transportation and logistics, and I feel like I'm missing one.
We are missing one.
Oh, aerospace.
There you go.
Yeah, aviation and aerospace. That's the another one that's very critical. I would think y'all would probably agree with that one.
Yep.
Absolutely.
In Alabama, it is.
Yep.
So we have committees made up of business and industry, representative from all workforce regions that are on those committees. And what we do is we orientate them, talk about the process, the review of reviewing grants, We communicate and share data that we pull from Lightcast on what this Lightcast, which is a labor market information resource, be able to look at occupational demands and across the state and in specific regions and so forth. And we prepare that data, share with them what that data is showing us, have them provide feedback on what they're seeing, and locally, and basically to validate what those work training needs are and occupational demand needs are, and then what we do from there is create a request for proposal that we send out to their community colleges, and they put together they work with their local businesses, and they look at what their needs at their colleges to be able to support the training programs and so forth, and they make sure that those are aligned with what we've put in those requests for proposals to submit grant applications to us for that grant cycle.
Yeah. Well, that is what I love about that is diverse. We were talking off air earlier about our asphalt lab tech and how we get the representative samples of the rock that goes into the asphalt to make a really firm foundation. So they're hearing you say that you're getting all these people from different parts of the state, different and in the same industry but different parts, and making sure then you get the data and you mix and match all that to have a really good foundation for each grant.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't just get willy-nilly programs that don't meet anybody's needs.
Exactly.
Because we don't want that. That's good. And I'll say from experience, Calhoun was blessed to get two while I was there for an injection molding machine and then some robots, some KUKA robots and Mitsubishi PLCs the second year. Yeah. And so you guys blessed those.
Well, I'll tell you that the equipment to do that type of training is so expensive, and colleges just wouldn't be able to do that if without these the support from the legislature and the state with those funds.
Yeah.
Barry, over the years with the changing in the workforce and industry needs, how has this program evolved or adapted?
Well, are you speaking of the workforce grant programs in general? Because I would say that is speaking just generally, I think that's kind of what I've stated in regards to who is reviewing the grants and how that process is structured. I will say that the application has changed over the years too. We've really refined that the application to be really centered on what the regional demand is. Asking really more defined questions to really validate that the college has done that work locally to understand what those needs are in their communities and in their region, as well as that they have partnerships. What we found with the success of a grant program is it's so critical to have local partnerships for the grant to be successful, for the program to be successful.
Yes. Yeah.
If they don't have local partners, if they don't have businesses that are supporting their efforts, if they don't have nonprofits and faith-based organizations supporting the work that they're doing and to help with the recruitment and helping implement the programs, and it's and as well as the companies there to not only provide feedback but also be there to ready to hire those students as they complete. It's really unlikely for that program to be successful. So that's what we're looking for in that, and that's what we've really built into those applications over time. I think we do a pretty good job of understanding if those relationships are there.
Is there a key turning point that sticks out in your time that sticks out as like this is what really helped the program grow into what it is today?
I think just really understanding when I was able to be in a position, leadership position, and be able to understand the history behind it and look at the track record of particular grants and so forth, and really understanding what needed to change.
Right.
And then, but I tell you, I have a truly tremendous staff of people that work on these grants and that support our colleges with the grants, and they've done a tremendous job of helping implement these changes just seamlessly. And I feel like we probably have one of the best processes of vetting proposals and then helping support our colleges as they implement these grant programs.
Yeah, you really do. The application was in somewhat daunting. If you're not a detailed and like narrative person, I'm not. I'm ready, shoot, aim a lot of times. And so, but every time we submit those, I know for experience, I can say that every time I submitted one, if there was corrective feedback, it was really quick and it was gentle and accurate, and it got us to a good product. And in the end, like, we were able to deliver those things. The last one I had was with some robots that was partnered with ATN, like designed because we had developed a relationship, and so they could use them in our joint trainings. And without their input and their industry partner buy-in, and mine as well, and the support of your team, we never would have got that off the ground. And it was very helpful to that area. Let's shift over to the funding and really what it supports. Because when we release this thing, it's going to go out, and so this episode will be targeted to the colleges, for one more round of hey, here's how this works, and it should be released about the time of your workforce grant training on March 10th. So some good info back and forth for them, but also to our business partners out there, the industry folks who say, man, I really wish that I could get XYZ training for my people. But they don't know how to. They don't know their community college. But I know that they listen to this show because they comment or they in person. So we have twofold audience. But tell us specifically what kind of stuff this program actually supports for the businesses and its employees. What are some different ideas?
Yeah. So I would say for a business out there, if you are a business and you have workforce challenges, if you are not talking and have a relationship with your community college and talking to them about what your challenges are and so forth, I would encourage you to do that. And if you're not sure who to contact locally to have those conversations, please, I'd love for you to reach out to myself, and we will certainly connect you with your local college. And because the work, those I mentioned the grant application process. If they don't know that their local businesses are having a challenge, they don't know to address that with a workforce grant. And there's so many things that they can do. They can put together special, like custom training programs to address a local need, and recruit for those programs, and really fast track people through those programs to send to that company, and our companies that may share the same challenges.
Yeah.
And but additionally, we have a grant that's specific to existing workers at a company. We call those existing workers incumbent workers.
Yep.
A lot of people, that's a term. A lot of industry folks don't even
They don't call it that.
They don't. Yeah, they don't understand that terminology. But we in education we call those incumbent workers. But those are just workers that are currently in your at your company, and what we see is that they're not only do companies have trouble or challenges recruiting talent, but they have people on their staff that they would love to upskill. It would tremendously raise their game if they were able to upskill them, and be able to provide additional technical skills that would allow them to implement new technologies, or that would help them improve their quality, improve their safety, uh, do the things that would help sustain their business. And what we're hoping is that investing in these companies through this program will allow them to grow their business, scale it, and thrive here in Alabama, making Alabama even more competitive than what we already are.
Well, Chris Strickland says we're number one in workforce in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So we must be. If you say it a couple times, it makes it true. In that EITP, because that's a so the ICI and Special Pops grant is very large, like larger monies. But the EITP is a smaller batch of money. Could you give me the breakdown on the single business or the cohort of businesses amounts?
Well, so what the program, when it was first launched, I mean, it started, I believe, in just a few $100,000 going to support. What we found is that every time we increase that number, we expend all of it because companies are really needing those that training support for their incumbent workers. And so that money is those funds have grown. A few years ago, it was up to $300,000. The year before last, we increased it to $600,000 annual support. This past this beginning this year, we've increased that fund. Our board of trustees at the community college system approved $1 million to support businesses across the state for our incumbent workers, and so we have $1 million dedicated to that program. So the amount a company can take advantage of annually is $60,000. Now, if you divided $1 million by 60,000, that wouldn't be supporting a lot of companies. But so we evaluate those based on needs. It's a need-based grant process, and so we look at each individual application that the college submits on behalf of the company, and to see what kind of impact the training would have on sustaining and growing their business, solving a challenge that they have. And we're also really intentionally targeting small to medium-sized businesses, because we realize that a lot of small, medium-sized businesses don't necessarily have dedicated training budgets, or they may have very tight budgets because it's a very competitive environment for them and so forth. So this is a great opportunity to be able to support those small and medium-sized businesses with these funds. Yeah.
Two examples of that. There was a healthcare system in North Alabama that needed medication aid. So this is like well, they help the nurses give medicine. But those people who take that training are often housekeeping or nurse assistants, not even certified nurse assistants. So they're not making the highest wage, and they take medication aid, and usually it was a couple of dollars an hour increase. And now they have a certificate, right? A lot of them, and we learned in that population, didn't have much more than a high school diploma or even a GED. And so we were able to take those EITP grants and provide medication aid training to, I think, 5 different locations, different homes inside of USA Healthcare, and to upskill their people, and that made a huge difference. And that was one of the points, is every EITP had to have an increase in wage for somebody, or a certificate to come out of it. Could you talk just briefly about the power of that for a person?
Well, so what it does, it takes a person that the company may not have a use for, because they don't have the skill sets they need. By upskilling them, it allows them to not only gain the skills that the company needs to be able to sustain their employment, but also it allows them pathways to grow into that within the organization. So we don't require a wage increase for the people, but we have seen that is pretty much a natural occurrence,
Yep.
though. Basically, one of the results of that. But our goal is, of course, that is something that we hope for,
Yeah.
that results in. But we're really wanting to support the company in sustaining and growing their business. We feel like that's not only going to help with the increasing wages at the for those that are benefit from the training, but it's going to create jobs. It's going to create even more jobs at that company that are good jobs.
Yeah, that's investing in that workforce. We talk about that all the time with Skills for Success, and so our dollars don't cross over with these grants necessarily, but we serve a lot of the same businesses. What experience do you have with companies that were maybe struggling and then now they've become competitive because they have an improved workforce?
Well, I tell you, I think some of the recent successes have to do with quality training. So there's a lot of small businesses to be able to grow their business, they have to be able to get ISO certifications. Even to qualify for business and to expand, and so I've actually got a list of folks that have actually taken advantage of quality training. The Alabama Training Network, that is some of the things that they specialize in, is helping prepare companies and support companies with ISO 9000 certifications and it's the ISO safety, environmental health and safety certifications, and they will basically train the trainers with the company. They will handhold them through the whole process of the certification. They will walk, with them to basically help do internal audits and let them shadow them, let their employees shadow them while they're doing internal audits so that they can kind of mentor them through that process. But they're able to get those AS 9100 certifications. They're able to do APQP and PPAP, which is basically a part approval process. Basically ensures when they get that and be able to do the PPAP and be able to show that a company that there would be a supplier for, that those products that they're producing meet all the specifications and the processes are reliable and so forth. And that gives the person that the company that's taking those parts very strong confidence that they're going to be a great supplier for them. And that's what the support that the Alabama Training Network as well as our colleges can do to support those companies to help grow their business.
So and I understand all that enough to ask this question. I have no idea what APQP really means and what it would actually look like on the floor, but what out there for the people in the world. So if Bob has those certificates, he can put that stamp on his product out of his shop, but Larry cannot, and they're making the same product and more or less doing the same work, but Bob has the certificates on his product. He's more competitive in the global market period than Larry or whoever.
Absolutely.
Larry.
In fact, if he's got those certificates, then the person that doesn't can't even go after that business.
Okay.
Can't even go after.
Not even in the game.
Not even in the game.
Okay. Well, I think that's important for the folks that hear this, who are the small business owners, because a lot of times, man, they're just making product, and they've had suppliers and vendors that they've been working with, but they've never gone to that level. And so they hear this, and now they know that if they're ready to up their game, they can do that and get their product certified, their processes certified. And then they can also take this money through the Alabama Training Network or the community college in general and do other things to make the employees better, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Matt, you want to dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so speaking on the process, and you mentioned bringing a list, Is there a specific example that just pops out of direct impact, whether it be to the industry or a specific worker?
Yeah, I think one of the recent examples is with Bryant Machine. They had they're a small precision machining shop located in kind of central Alabama,
Yeah.
right outside of up close to Jacksonville, and they were able to, by the training that they received, they were able to receive AES 9100 certification.
Okay.
This was critical in the basically gaining new business that allowed them to grow their business from 14 employees to 20 employees. And they're going through right now, I think, a 22,000 square foot expansion and so forth to support the increased business that they're having and so forth. And so this type of training is critical in supporting their growth and allow them to even gain more business. I would say Advanced Manufacturing Technologies is another company that also that ATN has supported with quality training and be able to get them certified for additional businesses. We've got Johnson Labs and ITS Products, TKL LLC. I mean, there's so many companies across the state that.
Yeah.
But I'll just also mention one of the training that we do that we see a lot of our colleges delivering, and as well as ATN, is leadership training.
Yes.
We've talked about those technical skills and that training, and that certainly that's important. But a lot of times, what you don't realize is leadership is just as important. You wouldn't believe how much feedback that we've gotten from businesses across the state about how that's such a critical need, because there's so many people leaving the workforce. They are in those leadership roles, and there's people that are coming up the ranks, from their production and their production roles, and then they're transitioning into leadership roles. And without the proper training in leadership, they can create a toxic environment because they don't know how to lead.
Yeah, there are two things in ATN's catalog. If there's a leadership course for new supervisors, period, and there's also one for I think it's called managing your peers or supervising your peers. So you were that production worker, and now you're the lead team or you're whatever, because like there's a conversation that Matt and I have, but then we could talk, we want to talk, but if Matt becomes the boss, now he's the boss. And now that conversation's, can't always happen out on the floor like it did when we were making the same part, right? So do you have any specific stories on those two things, or have you seen that to be pretty common?
Yeah, I see it. I see the need for that growing. I don't have any specific stories in regards to the success of that, but I do know that we have had companies that has reported increased retention.
Yeah.
Because if you've got poor leaders or people in positions that haven't been given that training to be able to properly lead, people will just leave their company. They're like, the workforce is so competitive right now. They can go leave and go down the street and work somewhere else if they get tired of the situation they're in, or the leadership, if they feel like it's a toxic environment and so forth. And so it's so important for those people in those positions that are supervising people to be able to understand good leadership skills and be able to create a culture that is a positive reinforcement, and being able to create an environment that people want to stay there and work, and they feel valued. They feel like that you're investing in them. They feel like that they're being listened to and heard. and that basically results in retention, and
Mhm.
that itself saves the company a tremendous
Oh my
amount
gosh.
of money.
So zoom out from that. So if you're getting your product, your process on a standard, international standard, and now the world sees it as a viable, better product, and you developed your culture, so people are staying, which means your processes get better. Because if you have a whole bunch of new people, you just mentioned it, but you get a whole bunch of new people all the time, that quality is going to go down some.
Oh, you lose a wealth of knowledge too
gosh.
with that, right?
So yeah, absolutely. The travel knowledge, and then just the how to. So then take all that and you spend. How do these grants work for the economic development portion of what the college system does? Because we say we're all workforce, but we have a whole economic development wing. How do all those efforts you take with the grants and the projects and the programs and the trainings work to make us more competitive economically?
Yeah, I think that's what we don't look at this as an expense. That this is $1 million that we are investing in business so that they grow by investing in their people and growing their business, creating jobs, sustaining that business so that we can retain it. What we feel, that also helps attract business. So they see companies outside of Alabama see that those companies are being supported, has an ecosystem that to be able to for continued growth and to be able to supply and support existing workforce. It's easier to recruit companies here in
Yeah.
Alabama. Not only that, but I didn't mention this earlier, but the companies that are participating with this grant program, EITP, they are also providing a match, a dollar for dollar match.
That's right. That's right.
To that. So that can be a hard match or it can be a soft match. Soft match meaning that while those employees are going through the training, they're paying salaries to those employees while they're in the training. They may be providing equipment that's being utilized in the training.
Right.
They may be providing the facilities and that where the training's taking place and so forth. All those can be counted as a soft match to it. So the companies have skin in the game to support the training.
Yeah, that was never a problem when I filled out those grants. Like the companies were always like, "Yeah, we're paying them anyway," or "What do you need? What is an in kind, a match?" And I never had a problem with those folks making that happen. That was actually the easiest part. So we're getting close to the end, but we got this out there on the radio one day, and some businesses listen. How does he connect to this resource? Like, how do they find you? Or how do they find this grant?
Well, I'll tell you the best thing that I would suggest them to do, and they can reach out to me personally with my email is barry.may@accs.edu, or they can go to our website, which is www.accs.edu, and there's a for employer page. On our for employer pages is as a contact for every community college.
That's right.
Across the state. That contact is the person that I would recommend calling.
Okay.
To talk about, tell them that you saw this podcast and you heard about the EITP program and how that the community college can support them with incumbent worker training, existing workers being trained, and you would like to know more about it and how and what they will do is they'll ask you a lot of questions about what your challenges are and if a training solution can help you with those challenges, and they'll work with you to customize a training program to serve your needs.
Yeah, for listeners, if you use the promo code hashtag Innovation Unplugged, you can get an extra 10% at. No, I'm kidding. But you're right. But that's exactly right. I love that you have the exact person from each college to work on that, because that what I've learned is the disconnect between business and the college and then the people. Like there's a chasm right in the middle that should be a really smashed up Venn diagram where everybody's in the same pot getting what they need. That doesn't exist. There's a tiny little vacuum right there. But those kinds of things make it really easy for people. I like that. What's the time frame of when they call that person to training?
Yeah, that's a good question. It all depends on how quickly they can define what that training solution is, and what is the need. What training solution can be able to serve that need. Once that's a whole process in itself. That can be very quick, or it can be sometimes time consuming to really dig into to understand exactly how we can serve that company's need, and then. But once the application is submitted, to us, which it's a pretty straightforward application, just take a small, probably an hour to complete the application if they've got all the information to go into it, and then they can have the training start with as early as 2 weeks.
Okay, that's very helpful. A lot of folks may be a little hesitant.
Yes. So what would you say to a business reaching out they're unsure whether this program is right for them? You take the Bryant machinery that you had worked with, growing from 14 to 20. We did this training to do that. Then what does that long-term partnership look like down the road? If you're giving them that ability to add 5-6 employees, then you're not just going to turn them loose. So what does that look like long-term?
Yeah, I think my hope is with this grant that they're developing relationships with the colleges in this process. What we've seen is that when the companies are doing have this partnership and the college is able to serve them with training, in that whole process of learning how the college can support them, they discover other ways that the colleges can support them.
Yeah.
They'll find that the college is offering programs that they didn't even know about on the for-credit side or on the non-credit side. They learn about work-based learning opportunities and the ability to that other companies that are working with that college are taking advantage of in allowing students to earn while they learn, and so forth.
That's our next episode.
And that is becoming a extremely increased workforce strategy that's the companies are being successful with, and so but this is kind of if a company has never worked with the college, doesn't have any experience with them, this is a great way to learn about the capabilities of the college, and so I would say give that college a try.
Yeah.
If you have a training, workforce challenge, and you believe a training solution can serve, please reach out to a college and develop that relationship, and let us help you with that.
Yeah, since it's almost Valentine's Day, that sounds like a great first date with the company and the college to get connected.
Absolutely.
Wade, you're exactly right. They just don't know what they don't know because they're busy making money, or trying to make money, and that's really helpful. We're getting wrapped up towards the end. Barry, what makes you most proud about what you've accomplished through these different programs?
Oh, I think it's the success of the companies, and as well as the relationships that we've been able to strengthen and develop because of these programs. I just love that that we're able to basically be a part of a company's success. We do require that the companies in that process participate in the survey where they communicate the impacts of that. And to be able to see them tell us how it has impacted, it brings me a lot of just satisfaction that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So what excites you the most about the future of workforce development in Alabama?
Oh gosh, things are going to be changing tremendously here in the next year or two especially with the implementation of Workforce Pell.
Yeah.
I see this is going to create an opportunity for us to align our workforce systems and align career pathways like you've never seen before in the state of Alabama or in the nation for that matter. Because it's going to be we're going to have to for those programs to be eligible for Workforce Pell, and it's going to basically force everybody to be aligned.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing adult education, whether you're doing a 4-credit program or a 9-credit program, everything's going to need to be connected, and there's going to have to be a clear career pathway. And in what we're delivering.
Yeah.
And so.
And just hot off the press, like right before we came on the show, there was a memo that goes out that now adult ed is moving under your supervision in the community college system. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and I'm so excited about
Yeah.
that. That's such a great team, and it's such a great opportunity for us for our departments and divisions to be able to work together and align our goals and our objectives. And so I'm so thrilled to have the opportunity to lead those great people.
Yeah, you're going to do a really good job of that because I've seen your passion for you mentioned the companies, but I've seen your passion for the individual people, but also for a smooth process where everybody has a skin in the game and purpose in what they're doing, right? I've seen that in the last, 8 years. Knowing you, so that's really cool. I'm excited to see how you take that and really mash it into a really well-aligned, you said it, well-aligned functional team. That's going to be good stuff, man. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a big deal. Bigger keys to a bigger house. That's fun. Well, we're almost done. Final thoughts from you?
I will just say that we can't do this. We can't do the work that we do without the feedback and true partnerships with business and industry.
Yeah.
Understanding the needs that they have. If we don't know what those needs are, we can't address them. And if all we're looking at is statistics and I mentioned light gas and labor market information and so forth, that may not be telling us the whole story. We're not able to efficiently meet those needs. And so, again, I would say if just a call to action to businesses out there, if you don't have a relationship with your community college, I would encourage you to please do that. We want to hear from you. We want to understand what your challenges are. If you are interested in participating in reviewing grants or participating on a committee that we have to support these grants, we would love to have you participate in that.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Conversations. That's where we go. Matt, final thoughts from you and wrap this thing up, man.
Just again, thankful for you to make the trip down today to talk about the stories behind the programs of what, again, our slogan, make life better for the Alabama community college system. Sharing the stories for other people to hear is always a positive, and we appreciate what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys.
You're very welcome. Thanks for making it.
At this time, this is going to conclude another episode of Innovation Unplugged. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow on all your social media platforms. Thank you and have a great day.